What's up, everybody? Give Emery some time here to hop in. Nice. Just give us a minute to let everyone in here. We should be popping on with Emery in a second here. Where's she at? Let's see where she's at, everyone. So we're gonna be chatting with the salon about 1099s, why they're better, or why I think they're better, honestly. And just waiting for them to hop in the chat here. You guys want to ask questions, you could. So this is a conversation I have with a lot of people, and it's really, is 1099s illegal? First off, they're not illegal. It's just a name of a form from the IRS. I don't know why people think it's illegal, but it is not. You have every right to be an independent business in America, and so this pretty much pertains just to the United States. But when it comes to the legalities, there's something called the ABC ruling. California, New Jersey, a few other states really follow that. And it has to do with the absence of control. And that's like the main ingredient for this recipe is you can't control your people who work in your salon, your staff members. And it's a hard pill to swallow for some owners, but you don't want to have to control people. You want to hire people who are sufficient, they're hungry, they're independent, and they have a business inside of your business. And then you guys work more as a team. And you still could be the leader. You still could influence them. But when you are an owner and you're a boss, it's not a good feeling. Like to be like the employee. Like people don't like being told what to do. People like freedom. They like autonomy. Like they like to be able to create their own life, their own business. And if you could inspire them and you hire people who are hungry, it's not going to be difficult. It will not be hard at all. I'm just waiting for someone to join into live over here. Yep. I'm on the link. Are you? I don't see you. All right, guys. We're letting her hop on. We just went live, so everyone's ready to go. Stay tuned because we're going to get deep and heavy into this. We're just going live so we could film it. Yeah. Why, it's too hot? All right, cool. Hey, I'm on the Zoom link. Hello?
So we can see you.
Yeah, I'm on the Zoom.
What?
I'm on Zoom.
I know. So I just asked to join, and it's not doing anything.
Oh, let me say it. Not joined. No response. Let's see. Let me.
It says Wednesday, November 13th,
Yeah.
11 a.m. Join with Google Meet.
Oh, you're on a Google Meet?
That's what the email you sent me.
There's two emails. That's why I rechanged the Zoom for you, so it'll be better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I could jump probably back into that one, but
Okay, wait. I have all the emails.
it's the latest one I sent you. Want me to resend you another one?
Not here.
You got it? All right, cool. Let me jump back into meeting.
I'm trying. I don't know. This is the latest one you sent me.
Let me go. Let me just jump right in. We go to the calendar link. All right, here's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to send you the Zoom link directly.
On the email?
Yeah, let me go invite. Copy link.
Girls were like, he's live right now, and I'm like, what? He's supposed to be live with us.
Yeah, no, I was going to go live with you. I timed it for 11, and then I was just waiting.
Yeah, 10 our time, 11 you, yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Here you go. I just sent you another email. The link is in the message.
Okay.
You got it?
Yep, here we go.
All right, cool. There she is. All right, now we're live. Cool. Emery, just put your camera on. Get your mic on.
My camera, you see it?
Yep,
Okay.
I can see you. Are you guys on a computer?
Yeah, on my laptop.
All
I
right.
don't know that we can do it.
That's cool. No, that works. Just click on the camera so I can see everybody.
Where's the camera? Yep.
All right.
You see?
Let me get back to Zoom.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? How you guys doing? Good. All right, so Emery, what is the first area you want to chat about?
Well, we were going to talk to them about independent contractors, remember?
Yep. No, I know that. There's a couple things we were going to chat about. I know like parts and labor, 1099s, independent contractors.
Correct. So we want to launch the parts and labor like as soon as possible. But we wait to after the election.
Yep.
So everybody's comfortable. And then if we do the independent contractor, that would start January 1st. But I want you to explain it to them, the benefits and
Yeah.
what.
Did everybody get a chance to review the document, the benefits for stylists?
No, I did not share any
All right.
of that with them.
So I'm going to share with you guys a document. I'll share my screen now so we can kind of just, you guys can maybe view it from there. But I'm going to read it off so I don't mess anything up on you. But typically, I want to first start with like, what is your mindset around being a stylist right now? Do you guys consider your own business, like that chair, do you consider it your own business or not? You can answer too. I can't, like, you can't click yes or no. So 100%, right? It's your business. Like you guys invest in your own education. You're watching YouTube videos, TikToks on your off time, trying to get better at doing hair, trying to become the best in your area. You guys put some time into your Instagram, and you guys do understand like there is a level of success you can create behind the chair in one facet. But if you really grow your Instagram or your TikTok or whatever it is that you do, you can step into a whole nother part of the industry, which is education, let's say. And I'm going to give you just a frame of reference here so you know how big the vision could get. Let's say you really take this seriously, okay? And you grow a business behind the chair. Who thinks making $200,000 a year is good? Raise your hand so I can see. Right? It's good. Right? Can you imagine the taxes you pay on that if you were a W-2 employee? You would get robbed, obliterated, because you can't deduct anything. Even at 100,000, even at 50,000. So you have to think of yourself as a business. And if you create the structure of an LLC, then you start getting like deductions. You get access to a whole slew of deductions, and you could really create and architect your life from a business person standpoint. But the reason why I want to talk about that is obviously there are people out there, you know, from like Blonde Chronicles. There's other people who have courses and programs and education systems, right? $10 a month, $100 a month, whatever they charge. You guys aware of them? You heard of them before? All right, so let's imagine this. Imagine you built up a great social media presence. And let's say you built up to 250,000 followers. Let's say you take 1% of 1/3. So 33% times 1%. That's 825 people. Let's say 825 people in your world are going to pay you $49 a month. That's $40,000 a month times 12. Okay. So that's $500,000 a year. Just having a course or some kind of online program through the fruits of your labor of being your own personal brand behind the chair. So that's an opportunity that's available to you. Now I'm going to share my screen because I know you guys you have some questions about 1099s, right? Do you guys know what it is? Yeah. So a 1099 is just the title of the form from the IRS. Like a W-2 is it's just the name of the form. It just allows Anne-Marie or whoever is the owner to pay you as an independent contractor. So first, let me go over some of the benefits that you have. So you can't write off your scissors, your clippers, any of the stuff you buy to make you better at doing hair. Any of your marketing or advertising that you do for yourself. If you have any kind of insurance, you can't write that off. Anything that you're doing to better yourself behind the chair is not going to be deduction as a W-2 employee. But as an independent contractor, it is. Now, some of this stuff, obviously, I'm not an accountant. I just did my own research. whenever you speak to an accountant, is there an accountant in the room, by the way, Emery?
She was supposed to be on the call,
All right.
but I bet you now it's the wrong.
Send her the link I just sent you. Forward that email to her. But when you guys speak to an accountant, this goes for everyone. You don't ever ask an accountant or a lawyer, is this possible? That's the one thing you never want to ask them, because their immediate answers are going to be no, because it's easier for them. How do I make this possible? How does this benefit me? And you want to make them work a little bit. If you're going to pay them, you're going to want to make sure that they're doing their job, which is to make sure they do the proper accounting for you and get the proper deductions. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see kind of what I'm looking at. I know it's going to be small from where you're at, but all right. So there's something called the qualified business income deduction that you'll get access to. So this allows you to deduct 20% of your business income before taxes. That's significantly reducing your taxable income. So who here has a bigger vision or a bigger goal for their career? Everyone, right? Or are you just doing this as a hobby? Who's professional here? Everyone. Okay, cool. So you truly want to maximize the amount of money you're making behind the chair. In order to do that, you are going to have to market yourself, work a little harder, get more exposure to social media, really invest in yourself and your skills. So you're going to have a significant amount of deductions that you can apply and you can take advantage of. So there's also something called the self-employment tax deduction. So independent contractors are responsible for paying the full 15.3% self-employment tax, covering both employer and employee portions of Social Security and Medicare. However, you can deduct half of this tax when calculating your adjusted gross income. So who's coming on right now? All right, Wendy. Cool. Welcome, Wendy. Wendy, we're talking about some of the tax benefits they'll get. You could chime in too if you'd like to. And so now you also get a vehicle and travel expense that you didn't get access to as a W-2 employee. So mileage. For 2023, the IRS allows you to deduct 65.5 cents per business mile driven. So if you're doing weddings, you're driving to work, you're driving back from work, you have a portion of your apartment or house you can write off as an office if you're doing marketing out of there. A really cool thing that a lot of people don't even know, besides like child tax care credit and family benefits, is, and Wendy, you could chime in on this as well if you'd like to. You can have your child, if they're under a certain age, and you could pay them, I think it might be $15,000 a year right now. And so you can't deduct your child's daycare. I don't know if any of you guys have kids, but you can pay your child as an employee and they don't pay taxes on it because it's under a certain amount of money. You can pay for their daycare, their school clothes, their cleats, and everything out of their checking account. So it's kind of like a roundabout way to get that tax deduction. So that's one of the things that you also get a benefit to too. Now, education, personal development. You invest in yourself. You now are going to be receiving more money in your paycheck, which enables you to invest more into your future, invest more into your retirement. So you get a chance to have a single employer pension or a STEP IRA. So contribute up to 25% of your net earnings, capped at $66,000 per year. That was for 2023. A solo 401k allows for both employee and employer contributions, providing greater flexibility to save for retirement while lowering your tax bill. So you guys know how like everyone talks about the rich, how they don't pay taxes? You can start playing in that game by playing by the rules that are already created. You're not breaking any rules. You're just using the rules and the laws that are created for business people, for business owners, for yourself, because this ultimately is your business. This is exactly what it is. So you have to start really treating this as a professional, like this is your own business behind that chair. So you also, what else we got down here? Between all of that, you have the ability to, who's beeping? You have the ability to really create what Edward Collins calls the real wealth matrix. And so God forbid something ever happens, you have asset protection. You have the ability to create a shield in front of your assets, your home, your cars, by using the corporate veil, by using LLCs, by using trusts, by not being you're really honestly yourself. You're going to control everything, but you're technically not going to own anything. And that's the benefit. That's how you get to that next level of success. And if you start changing your mindset about what's possible for you, you could take full advantage of being independent. So I want to open the floor up for you guys real quick. and just ask me any questions you have about being independent and maybe where I came up with this. Unless you guys think you know every single thing and you're fully excited. No, so how it works is this. If you were to pay rent, you're covering all your own color. You're going to be covering everything yourself. How it works as an independent contractor in my salon, okay, it's like a partnership. I still help them run ads. We still get access to the booking software. Like I open access to the booking software for them so they don't have to pay for that on their own. And I do it as a scalable commission structure. So I start at X% and I cap at X% depending on the revenue that they bring in. At a certain point, they have their own clients. Like I don't have to feed them anymore. They don't need the salon to really market as much for them. They can start marketing for themselves. They have word of mouth. And so I do it on a higher commission scale. It allows me the ability to pay them a greater commission because I'm not worried about the tax liability as being an employer. Now, there is something called the ABC ruling, which is the absence of control. You guys pretty much control your schedules now, right? You guys have freedom now. So by being independent, the only thing you don't have is the ability to deduct certain things. Go ahead, in the front. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And so by being independent, you now could really grow your business as big as you want it. Now, when you're renting a chair, like you have to cover your own color. Like I said, you got to cover a lot of stuff. You're going to almost be like a partner. And so the better you do behind the chair, the better she makes your business and the better you guys work together on growing that business behind the chair, you're going to get access to a front desk. You'll get access to any assistants. You get access to the water. You get access to everything. That's why it's still commission. You're sharing in the profit and the losses per se of the salon collectively, but you're independent. So whereas like if you were to open a salon, you guys know the average profit margin for a salon or actually an average business in America? It's about 8 to 12%. So by you working behind the chair, right, you're keeping 50, 60, 70% of what you're bringing in. And then you start deducting things from there. So it's like the average salon has a lot of overhead. So the ability to be in a bigger location and have freedom to really grow a business. Like I think you guys are at a processing table right now, right? You're at a processing table in the middle of the salon? Cool. Yeah, so they process there, like you book color on, they sit there. So you actually have a space where you can double book. Who in this room books like over 5,000 a week or right around there? Raise your hand so I see. Who books around five? Who's a 5K a week-ish booker? What are your numbers at?
They're about the highest ones are about 5K every 2 weeks.
Okay, cool. So what do you think is possible for someone behind the chair in our industry?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What do you think is possible for somebody behind the chair in our industry?
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's just have, yeah.
So why not you guys yet? Okay. So by being independent, this would free up some capital for Amory to bring on an assistant as well. But you, by getting more money too, you could also bring on an assistant. So what I do when I have my higher commission tiered stylist, when they're at 70%, they have the ability to work off 2 columns and pay for their own assistant because they're making so much money, or the salon supplies it for them, and then we pay for it. So it works in a couple of different ways. When I worked behind the chair by myself, I was probably averaging with no assistant, I was right around 5K, and it was just the way I structured my day. That's all. And so I'd work, 5, 6 days a week. I worked my ass off, but it's possible. When I had an assistant, when I hit like 7,000 a week, not doing extensions. So it is possible. So what needs to be true, Anne-Marie, so we can get an assistant in there? And so it would probably be switching to this structure to free up some cash flow on your end to bring in the assistant, correct? Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Right now, there's no room for it.
Yeah.
And actually, we had 2 girls call for to be an associate. Well, we call them associates, but
So yeah, associates, assistants, whatever. It's all relative. Yeah. So by learning how to use an assistant and training them the right way, you can really leverage your time. What's the average time for a single process here for application?
20 minutes.
Cool.
Yeah, 15, 20, but we book it 30.
Okay. Does your booking software allow you to book 20, or are you just comfortable just for time?
It only goes in 15-minute increments.
All right, cool. Ours lets us do 20, which is one of the reasons why I liked it. But 30 is fine. You know who it is, so you could stuff somebody in there if you have to for an extra single, if need be.
20 makes sense though because
I wonder if
it's
it's
all
all
single processes. I'm sorry, because
Yeah.
glazes.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's all process that you changed
for
it.
20.
yeah. Check them for 20 because you could really leverage on that. But who here wants to make more money? Obviously, we asked that everyone. But if you were to be a W-2 employee, and let's say you did build up to that, is Wendy still on here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Wendy, what is the average tax responsibility for someone who is making call their commissions going to be 4,000 a week, let's say, as a W-2 employee? What percentage?
The tax.
Yeah, like what's their tax responsibility? Like pretty much all their their Social Security, their unemployment. Like what are they paying out of that 4,000?
So
I-
what
I-
is it? About 7% for Social Security and Medicare, and then their federal and state withholdings.
Like a lump sum, like 35%.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right, so $1,400 if you guys were doing 4,000 a week, if that was your check, is going straight up just to taxes. So that's $1,400 a week. I know you guys do every 2 weeks, but times 52, that's 72 grand a year you'll be paying in taxes. Ultimately, if you were to structure your lives the right way, and Wendy, you could tell me if I'm wrong, you are the professional, they have the ability to find deductions that would probably exceed that amount. And so their tax liability will be less than that.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So you guys, you're playing small when you have opportunities to play as big as you possibly can. And I mean that with the utmost respect, because you have to understand doing that's a reality for you. So Amory, if she were to make this switch with you guys, she has now some more capital to bring on the assistant to support you. So I think what needs to be true for this conversation is you guys need some kind of an apprentice program or assistant, whatever you guys call them. What do you guys call them again? Associate. Okay.
So in our area, Nick, a
Yeah.
lot of people are going to the suites, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So why I like your program is right now, like if they were to go rent a suite, they were going to be paying all of the rent, taking care of the books, and ordering their products. So the way you have it structured is the client pays for the product.
Yep.
Come out of either one of our pockets. That's the parts and labor.
Yep.
Which is it's genius. And then we still have our front desk taking their appointments.
Yeah.
And they don't have to pay. They don't have to pay their rent.
Well, yes.
It's-
100%. But here's the deal with the suite, because you're going to be paying $450, $500 a week. Plus, obviously you're paying your taxes too on that, because you're going to have to be an LLC anyway. You're going to have to be independent when you're a suite. So everything that has to be true about this conversation needs to be true when you're a suite. The only difference is you want to take a 2-week vacation, guess what you're paying? You're still paying for the suite. You want to double book and triple book? Well, you can't do it because you only have one chair in there. So you have an opportunity to have multiple chairs to really grow your business inside of the salon and still get access to all the benefits with being an independent contractor and having an LLC. That's why when I sat down, I thought about this. Like, for me, it has to be win-win. Like, how can I win and how can my team win? And I was like, how can I help them become more successful? And I was like, well, if they were LLCs, because I love being my own business. Like, I haven't gotten a paycheck from anyone except for the Marine Corps. Like, no one gave me a paycheck my whole life. So I never worked as a W-2 employee. Maybe, honestly, like as a kid in a bakery, maybe. But other than that, I always bartended or worked cash jobs. It never seemed right to me that I would get this check and then the government would take all this money out for I don't know what, do what with it, and then I had to fight to get it back. Like, that doesn't feel right to me at all. What feels right to me is getting my money ahead of time, and then I could play by the rules that they set and then take advantage of all my deductions that I'm allowed to take. And then instead of paying you $72,000 for the year, I'll pay you $12,000 for the year. and save 50 grand. That sounds much better. Does everyone agree with that? Cool. So I think what I'm going to do is, Amory, after this, get me in a group chat with everybody in the salon. I'm going to send you guys a direct link to that sheet I was just looking at. Cool. And then now we have Wendy on here too. Guys, ask some like high level questions. Like, don't wait for us to get off the call here. Like, really ask a question that you're thinking about, that you're scared of. Because there has to be some fears around it, no? Or you guys are all for it, ready to go?
I'm also gonna be at the salon next Tuesday. So if you find something, in the middle of the night you're thinking about, feel free. You can always text me or call me too.
Yeah.
You have my number. I just want to put out there that me and Wendy have done the numbers, and you definitely can make more money. I would never ever guide you in a direction that would screw you, and I don't want to get screwed either. So, like, if you guys don't succeed, I don't succeed, and we don't have a salon. So that's just the whole dynamic of this whole conversation. Like, me, I still have to say sorry. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I think a lot of people are judging it separating the parts and labor.
All right, cool. Want to talk parts and labor then now? Yeah. Your first year, you're going to be not really pay quarterly at all because you don't know what your estimated income is going to be. The second year, you're going to pay estimated, and Wendy, tell me if I'm wrong with this, an estimation of what you did last year. Is that correct? Yeah. And that's just to be compliant. Yeah. So yeah, so what we can do for you, honestly, that's a great question. I could probably create like a sheet, like an Excel sheet or some kind of like a number sheet for Google, and then you just put in what you're making, and then it would automatically tell you what should go where. Would that make you feel more comfortable? And I want you guys to understand, don't be afraid of the IRS. Like, you guys are Americans. Like, you have a citizenship here and you earn the right to be in this country. Don't feel like you're going to get bullied around for anyone. Like, you have the right to tell them like what's going on in your business. The laws are laid out. As long they have to follow the rules too. They can't just make up that you owe them $80,000 because their system printed up a sheet. Like, understand that that's not legitimate a lot of times. They'll send you something in the mail and it doesn't make any sense because you have all the deductions. So a lot of times they make mistakes too. And so it's important that you understand what your rights are for being an American. And a lot of people just they get afraid of the IRS for whatever reason, and you shouldn't be, because everything has to go through a legal system.
Well, and a lot of it is just making sure you have documentation.
Yes.
So if you buy something at, Salon Centric, you're keeping that receipt. If you have your scissors sharpened, you're keeping that receipt.
You do a consultation at dinner with a client of yours, a friend of yours who you do their hair, and you talk about her highlights. I mean, Wendy, could that be contributed like as a business dinner? Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you guys have one debit card, like if you have like American, whatever bank you guys use, and that's your business account, and you keep restrict it like just towards business, the bank statements themselves, Wendy, you can tell me if I'm wrong, you run that to QuickBooks or something like that, it would itemize it for you. And you don't technically need the receipt. It's good to have extra, 100% it is. But if your bank statement will label what it was, and then you classify it in your QuickBooks afterwards. Yeah. And so it's really, really easy. It's not like the 80s anymore when you have a big envelope of receipt to drop on someone's desk. Yeah, it's like $97 a year. Yeah. I'll send you a link. I got a good company for insurance for you guys, but also don't forget, you could have a whole life insurance policy out on yourself from the LLC. That could be a deduction. Wendy, let me know if I'm wrong with this too. Like, there's a lot of fun shit you can do, like that will benefit your family in the long run. And God forbid something ever happened where you hurt somebody, like you could protect your assets through the company. Like you could keep things in the company's name so if someone can't personally attack you and take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys are hard to hear, but
Yeah, their personal health insurance they can write off, and you also have the ability when you start with an LLC, you can elect to be treated as an S corp if you're making a certain amount of money and get a whole new realm of deductions too. Like when you start breaking in like the 150,000 a year mark, 200,000 a year, you could be treated as an S corp, and then you can start playing some really fun games.
well, his is really high. His numbers are higher because he's up by New York. I structured ours like $1,000 less a week than he did, and I'll show you guys that later.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but you have to remember that you're going to be paying less taxes. You know what I mean? Like, so I think the structure I had was anywhere from 50. That's where you're not bringing in a lot a week to up to 70%. Each because we're going to do it by week. So how much you bring in a week? That is a sliding scale
yeah,
of how much. Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Now she has two also selling retail. That's a whole other thing. But we can sit down and talk about that structure later, and I'll go over it with you just to make sure. But I pretty much did the numbers. I feel like I'm safe in that range of commission. I'm trying to give you guys as much as I can. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. Can I help answer that, Emery? Advertising. So Amory is going to be advertising for the salon, right? The social media, all that stuff, boosting posts, running some meta ads. A lot of that you get the benefit of when you're not that busy and you're at the 50% commission structure. As you grow your brand and business and you start making more, you'll be at 60, 65, 70. You have no room for new people. So that's why you are keeping more of your commission. That ad budget is kind of getting recouped by the people who are at that 50% commission structure. So it still is fair. It's win-win because your books are so full. What do you can't take any new clients at that point. It's really off your own word of mouth and your own advertising that you're doing. So that's why the structure works well because she has now a little extra cash flow for her herself. Rather than pay into your Social Security and your bullshit taxes that she has to cover, she could pay to advertise the salon, to pay the assistant to support you guys better. And that's where the transfer of money goes. Instead of paying for some stupid social service that doesn't really benefit anybody, who knows where that money's going, it goes to, hey, let's get you busier. And then she takes the deduction for advertising and marketing rather than not getting really any use of that money. Does that make sense to you guys?
Which right now we don't really do a lot of advertising or marketing, so I'm gonna follow your lead on everything. All the
Yeah.
tools
There's
that I've done, we're gonna start doing that.
Yeah, you guys know why? It's just the way and I don't want to get political with anybody in here, but I'm pretty sure everyone kind of is somewhat similar. The, the way the businesses are constructed in the political realm of our country, they want to crush small businesses, unfortunately. It's not set up to support us. And so at the end of the day, when you're done paying for all your W-2 employees, you're paying for this, you're paying for that, you have all these taxes, like the meat left on the bone for the owner is like around 8%, if that. Like there's nothing left for the owner to really keep reinvesting in unless you're super strict and you're really tight, but she's already generous. So for a salon to run the right way as a W-2, your commission structure shouldn't go above 46% at the max. That's what you're getting. Plus, a lot of salons give you anywhere from 42 to 46, and they take 5 to 10% per client for all the color that you're using. And if they don't do that, they're not going to make any money. It's just how it operates now. Like everything's so expensive. And so this is the structure that really gives the ultimate amount of freedom for everybody to be successful. And so now with that extra money left over, she will have things in place for marketing. There will be some money like, oh, wow, I have more at the end of the month. Let me run another campaign. It's a group effort, though. So it's up to you guys to produce the content for her, the best performing content on the salon's Instagram or TikTok or Meta, whatever you guys want to use. She can then put a little fuel on that fire and pump it up a little bit. And it doesn't take much. Like, it doesn't take much at all. Like we could take, me and Amber are going to work together and collectively probably get you guys from where you're at now, at least 75 to 100% more in revenue. You guys are going to double your revenue with a few minor tweaks because she'll have a little more cash flow. So when it comes to the parts and labor, I'll explain how that works. Do you guys, who has frozen yogurt or went to get frozen yogurt in this room? Raise your hand so I can see. Everyone, right? And you go, you get the cup and you go walk down the line, you put the yogurt in, then get to the toppings, and you're fucking throwing on Reese's, you're throwing on Skittles, gummy bears, and it weighs 43 pounds. And then you ring it out, it's like $18. Right? And then your husband goes up, or your boyfriend, his is like $62 because he has the big ass bucket. Right? I'm being funny, of course, but it's depending on how much you get. The more yogurt, the more toppings, the heavier it weighs. Now, the color is almost the same exact thing. The more the client uses that she wants to use because she took 6 months in between touch-ups, well, the more color you're going to use. So in order for us to really make this transparent and fair to everybody, if you were to raise your prices to make sure that your color included the color cost for every client, then Nancy, who comes in every 3 to 4 weeks for a single process, is only using 30 grams for her touch-up. But then Barbara, who spends 6 months in between visits because she wants to save money, you're using 3 bowls to touch up her hair. So where's the balance lie for you to figure out how much you're going to raise your services? You can't. So what I did was I took out the color cost and I have my labor charge, which is what you guys are doing. That's what the commission served on. And then I have the parts, which is the bowls of color or bowls of bleach that are on a per use basis. So it's the most fair, transparent way to the clients too, and to the salon and to you guys. Because when you started doing hair, everyone looks pretty young in the room. It's like you had the more lived in, balayage, light, low light, tip out. You have all the freaking things that people do. Like when we started doing hair, it was like a full highlight. You use BW2 bleach. It was like $6 for a 50 gram tub. And then you might have toned it with a $3, not even a $3, $1 Wella T18. And that was it. You were done. Now there's so much more like steps in the color. It's more intricate. It's beautiful art, but there's $60 worth of color being used. And if your highlights are, let's say $200 for a full highlight, and you're doing a 50% commission, there's $100 going to you, and then there's $100 left for the house. $60 that goes into color usage, plus you have gloves, foils, water, the rent, the electric. If there's a front desk, like there's nothing left. And so the parts and labor is, I felt, the most fair way for you guys not to get charged for the color, for the salon not to have to get beat up over the color, and it was a way for, on a per use basis, to pay for the color. Now, every industry does it. You get a salad, you want to throw on grilled chicken or salmon, it's an upcharge, right? You go to the mechanic, you're paying for labor for the mechanic to fix your car and also the parts. So it's in every industry but our industry. And so everyone's doing it except for us. And now it's time we get with the times and actually treat this like a real business. So that's how the parts and labor works. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, five. Yeah. So here's yeah, I totally understand that. So a single process to me, right? I don't think I'm changing the way I do to my salon. I have a color line I use is really inexpensive. So my single process, if you come consistent and you use 30 to 40 grams of color, I weigh in grams, then it's included in your single process price, let's say. This way your repeat business, they're not getting killed. Cool? And it's and when you pull color through, there will be a bowl of color charge. Now, if you don't do, I understand what you're saying. You're not raising prices though. So in lieu of raising prices, so I'll call you Nancy for right now. Nancy, I understand. Like I'm not raising prices. I want you to understand, my haircuts and blowouts are the same price. But I am going. You guys do a combination though of haircut, of color and cuts, right? Or color and blowout. Everything we do is a la carte, by the way. And so my single process is 75, and then if I have to pull color through, it goes to 85. Now, most salons, when they pull color through, it's like a gloss, it will be $30. And it's $20 less than that. So the way typically you would add on color, it would be an extra color charge, which you're getting commission on, but it's not covering the color cost. And so in order for you to get the higher commission structure, which you'll benefit more in the end with, this way works out best for you and for them because they would typically be paying $30. Now they're just paying a $10 upcharge if you're pulling the color through. And you have to have the conversation with them. Like, I'm not raising prices. I'm only separating this out. And the more consistent you are, the less you're going to pay. So how much would it really go up? I didn't hear the last part. Yeah. Oh, no. So here's what you could do. Honestly, like it would be, you can alter your pricing slightly, but you can separate out the color charge. So it would be 20 for the glaze, let's say, and then the 10 for the color charge. Yeah. But do you, you're also getting a higher commission structure too. Yeah, so it evens out for you because you're going to be making more commission. I, yeah, no, you're still charging for the gloss and the glaze, but if what? Yeah, I'm trying to unpack your question here a little more because I just charge my clients, and sometimes people are going to be upset with it, but where else are they going to go? Like I value what I do, and I know that I stand by my work, and this is how I do it. And so yeah, I love my clients to death. But in order for me to keep doing your hair and keep the business open, this is what needs to happen. And the last 18 years, I was not running this the proper way. And I'm sorry for that. This is how it's going to work moving forward to keep the lights on so I can give you the best service possible. And Nancy, if that doesn't work for you, that's okay. There's 55 salons down the street that can go fuck up your hair, and I'm here to fix it for you when you're ready. So do you think you're the best in the area? 100%, right? What do you love the most? What product do you love or have you used? Yeah, like products that you use all the time that you love. Is it an iPhone, a computer, a car? Like, do you go out to dinner to a certain restaurant? Is there anything that you've used in the past couple years that they raised their price on? Okay. I promise you they won't leave. Yeah, but hold on. Is it because you don't value your service or you don't think they value you why they will leave? Once that started happening, do you take any steps to increase the volume of clientele that you're doing? When you felt that happening, right? Did you do anything for your own personal business to increase the amount of clients that you're doing behind the chair? How about new clientele? Do you have any kind of word of mouth that you're doing? Any kind of referral program? Are you posting consistently to showcase how great you are? Okay. So what happens is you got to take a look at the fear that's going on. All right, shit. What if someone does leave? Which is actually it's real. I'm not discounting your fear. I 100% am aligned with you on that. Right? It's very scary. So what needs to be true about making this change so it's not scary anymore? If I had people knocking on my door, trying to book with me, and I did everything in my power to make sure that every action I took was to build my book as big as it could be, I wouldn't be fearful of it. I feel bad for my clients, like when I raise prices. I genuinely feel bad because it comes from I grew up poor, like I grew up with no money, and I knew what it was. I know what it's like to fucking have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for dinner. Like I understand that. Like my parents went through bankruptcy. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was 10 of us. Like we went through ups and downs of my life, and so I get when times are hard. But what can I do differently to build my business so I never have to experience that again? And how valuable am I as a hairstylist that they would be like, I'm going to cut some other corners of my life to make sure I can go to Vanessa or Jennifer, because I really do value my hair. And maybe it might be pushing it out an extra week or two, or maybe instead of getting a full highlight, it's just a partial. Maybe you have to get creative with your pricing structure and your menu. So like you're separating out the single process from the blowout. So that's a little more inexpensive. They don't need to get a blowout in their hair. That's a way to make it a little more inexpensive for them. But I know I get that. But here's how I did it. I'll tell you from my experience because it's the only thing I can speak of. I used to do that, right? And so I would do, instead of doing, she was in for a full highlight, let's say, I would do a partial and a partial back to back. This is where it comes in having those associates. But I would do a single, a partial, a single, a haircut, have someone blow my client out. Like I would stack my clients in. There's a book called Oversubscribed. You want to be oversubscribed. Get like, go to Blinkist, go to YouTube, or buy the audiobook or buy the regular book. And try and become oversubscribed. And then you'll never have to worry about what if again. Because you'll have so many clients wanting to get their hair done by you. That's the only thing you can control. And so the fears are 100% valid. So oversubscribe if you're writing it down. You're welcome. Yeah, it's these are 100% valid conversations to have. But ask yourself, what needs to be true about the service that I'm delivering so my clients choose me over the other thing? Because they're still choosing to get a brand new iPhone, a lot of them, or they're still choosing to do something else other than their hair. They look at us as something that is negotiable. And unfortunately, you have to make less money, and you have to go home and say, oh, no, I can't afford that to my family or your family. When you deserve to be successful too. You deserve to fucking not worry about money. And so what needs to be true about your actions, how you think, how you show up for yourself, like what needs to be true about that stuff. And so every time you're like, you said you should be a little more consistent. And this is not just directed at you. This is for everyone watching, even on the lives too. Like people complain about money. Create the life where you don't have to complain about money anymore. That's it. Like there's some person somewhere guaranteed in your community that is fully booked and they raised their prices 3 times in the past year and a half. What are they doing? What are they doing different? How are they showing up? And more importantly, if you're focusing on something negative, like a negative outcome, you're almost guaranteeing that negative outcome to have. Don't be ignorant of the negative conversation. Be prepared for the negative conversation and make sure you're armed with, hey, listen, this is why we're doing it. It's going to benefit you in the long run. Because Nancy, in order to raise my prices to really keep our salon open, it would have to be $85 for a single process. Now it's only $65. And if you come more consistent, it's going to be only $65. But if I had to raise my prices for you and Barbara, because she has so much hair and uses so much color, I would be charging $95. That's not fair. So this is the most fair, transparent way. And you just have to learn how to have these conversations. Another book, if you want to write it down, Crucial Conversations, and then Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. So actually write his name down, Chris Voss, and the book is called Never Split the Difference. Go to YouTube, go to TikTok. He's on all of them. Instagram. He's an FBI negotiator. All right. He's really good. What'd you say? Voss, Voss. And so when you're entering these conversations with people, just a background on Chris, what he did was he was like a master FBI negotiator, hostage situations, bank robberies, all that shit. Like that's what he did. And so he learned how to deliver a conversation in a way that would be easily digestible and convince the person to make the decision that they wanted. Like in all fairness, it was like for their benefit too. So if you use these tips and these tools, you're going to be able to now control the conversations to benefit both you, the client, and the salon. Because I want you guys to think of who you are as hairstylists. And I've used this example before. You guys have to believe that you're the best at what you do. Have to. Like that comes first and foremost. And if you believe you're the best at what you do, let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb here. You know that it goes beyond hair, right? Who thinks that all they do is hair? Raise your hand. No one. You're there for their first marriage. You're there for their divorce. You're there for their kids being born. You're there when someone dies in their family. You're there when they get fired from their job. You're there through the hardships. You're there through every tough conversation. And right now, somewhere, there's some girl who's 22 on TikTok or Instagram with an amazing fucking reel going viral that's attracting clientele into her chair who doesn't give a shit about her clientele. She's going to raise the price as much as she wants because she wants a new Louis bag. But you truly care, and you're having the hard conversation right now because you care about your client, and that's important. But she's not going to be there for that client when she's going through a divorce or losing her job. And that woman may be so down on her luck, she may leave that salon still feeling like shit and want to fucking kill herself. And so by you not putting yourself out there on social media, positioning yourself as the best stylist, you're doing that person a disservice. So you have to change your mindset around how you market yourself. And you do care about your clients because you're having this conversation with me. So it's important that you're like, hey, fuck, I'm going to be the goddamn best stylist. Hopefully you guys aren't like sensitive to language. I'm sorry if you are, but it's like you're going to be the best hairstylist in your area because you give so much more than anyone else. And that comes out. That comes out through your social media, through your consultations, how they leave the salon. And then people leave there and they're happy to pay whatever the price is for you because you deliver so much more than just an amazing balayage or a blowout or a highlight. And so start thinking yourselves as the best in the industry, and then no one has a problem paying any price. Doesn't matter what the economy is. We're almost recession-proof. People will complain about price no matter what. And it's not that it doesn't exist, but then what you could do as a hairstylist, because you're entering these conversations, better yourself, learn more about money, learn about investing, give them the tools and the information to help them progress to the next level too. Rising tides raise all boats. So if you could give them a nugget of information to help them maybe budget better, there's more room for you in there. So it does go way beyond hair. But go ahead, please. No. No. My blowouts are 55. I do 30 grams. I just do the grams of color. I'm not worried about the developer. So it's 30 grams of color or 40 grams at max. Depends what line. Yeah. 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 You could weigh it out to be like a $5 bowl of color and a $10 bowl of color if you wanted to for that little bit of extra. That all adds up. So if you take a look at what your color bill is, let's say you're spending $1,000 a week on color for a salon. They're not really recouping that from you guys. Or maybe they are charging you a percentage. Are they charging you a percentage for color right now? No? Amory, are you charging a VIG for color at all? Okay. Yeah, so a lot of salons charge the stylist a percentage and take it out of their commission for the color, which I don't think is fair either. Do you guys agree? Yeah. Yeah. It's that sucks to me. So I don't. Now, if I were to mix another bowl of color for her, you're right. It would be 95 is what I would charge her for the color. Yeah, because I have a color line I use. Amory, I can set you up with them. They could ship it out to you. It's a 3.5-ounce tube. It's 1 to 1.5. Probably right around $5 for you. And that will cut your color cost in half. It would be like a $2 application. That's the only reason why I do it. Is because it costs.
Right, but you said that you're only doing that for your clients that come every 3 to 4 weeks. Right?
Yeah, so it's 30 to 40 grams of color. Like if it's if she, every 3 weeks it'll be like 30 grams. Every 4 weeks it'll be right around 40.
So that's all your other color services you charge for the bowls of color.
Everything, bowls of bleach and bowl of color.
So his color is almost half the price of ours. That's why he can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so if they want to, let me say this: if they want to use any of my Wella, because I carry 7, like fucking how many color lines? I have like 7 color lines in my salon. Because I have a warehouse, I have 5 locations, and I got like 8 affiliate locations. So I have a bunch of different color, so they can use Go Well, Wella, Milkshake. Who else do we have in there? Pravana, Kuhn. So I have a bunch of different lines. If they use those lines, there will be an extra charge. If you're going to use the main line that's really inexpensive, then there's no upcharge for that single process. Do you guys use any kind of like salon scale? You guys all measure your color, right? Good. That's important. It's a really difficult thing to wrap your head around because it's not something we do all the time. There's a salon I work with in Texas, and she raised her prices and did parts and labor. And people had meltdowns. But they kept on coming. It's the only way she could have kept her business open. And so how I like to raise pricing too is I'll raise, like for right now, this conversation, you're going to just do parts and labor. Don't touch the haircuts or anything else. Like figure out a strategy to make everything a la carte so it's digestible and easier for everyone. But what I typically do is in the winter, like November, like this time of year, I'll raise color. And then in the summer, I'll raise haircuts. I don't raise both. So it's like a seesaw effect. So it's just little by little. And that way it's not as impactful. And I don't do $5 raises either. I do significant raises because people are going to bitch about $5. Make them bitch about 20. Like it's going to be the same amount of aggravation. The conversation still has to happen. It's the conversation that's the most painful. It's really not the extra $10 or $20 for the color. I promise you. So make sure you like raise it by a percentage. And what I like to do, Emery, you could disagree with me on this. It's your salon. I'll raise pricing 20%. And then at the register, my OG clients, right? Anyone new in my book, anyone who I've never done before, it's 20% higher. And I tell my clients, listen, if you go online in the book, you're going to see a price increase 20%, but don't worry, I got you, you're VIP. Then when I walk them up to the counter, I say, hey, Maria, we did a full highlight on Barbara today and a haircut, but she gets her VIP 10% off. And so she gets bumped 10%. So she's paying 10% more. Anyone new is paying 20% more. But she's hearing, 10% off. When in reality, I just raised her 10%. Psychologically, she's like, oh shit, I'm VIP. And it's reciprocal. Like she appreciates that. And I'm not like greedy. I understand she's loyal. And that's a thank you from me to her. And people say, don't do that. Raise everyone flat across the board. But I also believe in I believe in loyalty. I believe in thanking my clients who've been around for the last 18 years. And that's important that I take care of them as well. You guys agree? Yeah. So that's the system that I did to make it easier. Yeah. So here's like a belief. I'm going to share with you guys a PDF on change as well. And I want to take a look right here. There's a couple questions I want to ask you. I'm going to ask a series of them. Like, what's the belief that's holding you back, and where did it come from? Like, what is the belief around the parts and labor? What do you think? What do you think clients are going to say? Why do you believe this is going to happen? Like, why do you think that people are going to leave? Like, and how has this belief limited you or affected your actions and opportunities? Like having this belief about raising prices and thinking people can't afford you or they're going to leave you. Has this affected the opportunity for you to grow and go on vacation with your family? Like, how has this limited belief really affected your livelihood? And then, is this belief true and based on fact, or can you find evidence to prove it wrong? Like, has there anyone in the history of the world who ever did hair raised their prices and not lost somebody? Yeah, 100%. Like, so is my belief valid? It could be, but is it really factual? No. I'm just making shit up in my head. And then, so how can I reframe this belief, or how can I what needs to be true about my next step in order to make this belief not happen? And that's a couple questions I want to ask, and then there's 3 more. It is, if I could find them on here. It is. Yeah, I mean, there's a homeless guy in New York who takes Venmo. Like, are you kidding me? So 3 questions about limited beliefs. Is it true? How old is this belief? Where does it come from? And what needs to be true to make this goal happen or this transition happen? And is there a skill that you need to learn that will make it go the way you want it to go? And so, like, all right, if I learned something, if there's something I could learn right now to have this conversation around money easier for me, what is that? Who has that information out there on the internet? And then how can I learn from them? Whether it be a YouTube video, a book they wrote, Chris Voss, I just told you. And it's like, all right, let me become that person who never worries about raising prices again. And that means, is my service on point? 100%. Am I good at having the conversation with my clients? Do I give a really good experience on top of my service? Do I have a great personality, a pleasing personality? Awesome, that's in check. What's next? Do I know how to have the conversation around money? Am I convincing? Like, am I delivering the message about the price increase the right way to make people feel comfortable and come up with any kind of objection handler that somebody would have? Like, someone's gonna have an objection for you. Rehearse that, figure out what they would say, and then figure out a positive way to come back. And then if you rehearse that, do like a little scripting for yourself, you're gonna be fine. When you're prepared for the conversation and the objections, just know that it has nothing to do with you. Has to do with that person. And I know this is a really hard conversation to have, but when someone's like, ooh, that's expensive compared to what? What's it expensive compared to? Is it more expensive than getting your hair messed up at another salon and having to pay to get it fixed? Do you not value yourself, or you don't value me? Like, do you not value yourself enough to pay this for a haircut? Because there's someone out there, you guys heard of Ted Gibson? Look him up. Ted Gibson charges $2,600 a haircut. James, 26? Yeah, like $26.50 a haircut, I think. Can you imagine having that conversation? Right? But what's different between him and you? Does he cut better hair than you? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. Probably just as good as you. He values his haircuts to be worth $2,500. And when he walks that person to the counter, he's like, today will be $2,600 or whatever the price is. She says, oh, great. Here's my Amex, put on 20% for you. Then he pulls away in his Mercedes or his Rolls Royce and gets into his nice, beautiful house only because he has a different belief. Anything and everything's possible once you change your belief. So that's what it really falls back on. And every question everyone asks is 100% valid. It is. And I was the person who was afraid to raise my prices. Like, I was charging $65 a haircut. My friend was charging $125. We went to hair school together. We graduated like the same week of hair school. What was different? He believed he was worth it. He had clients, I had clients. Right? His haircuts weren't that much better than mine, or mine weren't that much better than his. So it was like, what was the difference? Nothing. Just his belief he was worth it. That was it. And start attracting clients who also value your service. It's a whole mindset shift. But once you make it, you're going to be really happy that you did. So who has any more questions about like anything we talked about today? My haircuts include a blowout because I cut dry. And so what I did because I'm retired behind the chair. I retired back in June. So 45 retired. It's a beautiful thing. But so what I did, if I was doing your hair, I would have an assistant blow you out or someone help me, and I would give them the blowout, and I would deduct whatever they charged for a blowout off of my haircut price if I didn't blow you out, and I would cut your hair dry. So I was able to do like a partial or a full or a couple colors in between that because I just hated blowing out hair at a certain point in my career. Like I would do it if I had to, like for an event for somebody, but so yeah, they're included in my haircuts because I primarily always cut dry because I had to go back in and detail it. So there's a hairstylist in Miami. There's one down the street from me here in New Jersey. A lot of stylists do this, and this is going to blow your mind. They require their clients for haircuts to come in clean, dry, and straight, and they cut them dry. And they charge like $250 a haircut. It's wild. Yeah. So it's crazy what people do. But to me, I prefer cutting dry. So if I was just a cutter, how I would do this is I would have 4 chairs in my salon if I was in a studio. I would go consultation, 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 consultation. As I'm doing these, what would happen is you're getting blown out, you're getting blown out, you're getting blown out, you're getting blown out. And then I'm jumping to you after you're done for a haircut. Then I'm jumping over here for a haircut. And I could have ultimately 4 people going on at the same time all day long if I was just a cutter. And then I would maximize the amount of time I was actually making from my chairs. So you just have to really learn how to leverage some associates and change the way you're doing things in the salon. Because you guys, all of you guys can be making an obscene amount of money because you're all talented. You're all good at what you do. If you have people coming to you for the last 18 years, trust me, you're good at what you do. You wouldn't go to the same shitty restaurant if the food sucked every time for 18 years, would you? No, you wouldn't. So any more questions about 1099, parts and labor? So what we're going to do is this. You probably have a lot of questions, but they're not popping in your head right now. Make a list of them, all right? Make a list of all the questions you have, and then give them to Anne-Marie, and then she'll give them to me, and I'll create another video just going through all those questions. Is that cool? This way you guys don't have to like rush thinking right now. Is that fair for everybody? Cool. Anne-Marie, you have anything else?
Wendy had to jump off, but she's like, can she call you with some questions?
Oh, yeah, she could. 100% she could.
Okay, I'll give her your number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. And Anne-Marie, is there anything else you wanted me to cover today?
I think that's it. That's where we're going to start with.
Yeah.
You got a lot. There's a lot that I want to do, so we're going to start with this.
Yeah, cool.
And we're gonna get-
Yeah. And and for the record, everyone on my team is 1099. Yeah, I'm a PMA, but I truly believe in giving freedom to my team. Like I want them to be free Americans and have their own business, and I want them to grow. And sometimes having that LLC puts you in the right mindset. So maybe owning a salon isn't for you, but maybe a laundromat is, or a car wash is, or another business is, and then you start thinking like a business owner. You could do hair 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and have like 4 or 5 businesses on the side. This is a land of opportunity, especially nowadays. So, Anne-Marie, I'll let you go. If you have any more questions, please, give Wendy my number. Girls, it was nice meeting all of you.
I'll put you on a group chat with them.
Yeah, please. I'll send over that document for you guys so you can check it out.
Okay, perfect.
All right, awesome.
Thank you.
All right, have a great rest of your day.
You too.
All right, James, we're good. James, unless you want to do a Q&A. All right, cool. Nice.